right, welcome everybody. Ged, it was a night I have been waiting for a long time, and the review embargo or the social media embargo lifted over the weekend, and then the review embargo lifted yesterday with no spoilers, of course. But I was starting to get worried that I was going to overhype myself for Andor season 2. I have not seen one person say a negative thing or not rate it basically a 10 out of 10. So expectations going into the first 3 were pretty high. I did hear that the first 2 episodes kind of fit the mold of the first season a little bit, where it's definitely a slow burn, and then it really picks up in episode 3, and then from there on out, it's basically a race to Rogue One. But let's break it down.
First things first, it is early this morning. We normally do this at night, but you must have had a massive emotional conflict with the Leafs playing last night and these dropping at 9:00. I'm sure it was a late evening.
Yeah, overtime between this but what I will say though is you and me have been crying about runtime for a long time. I love this release schedule. For one, Andor's somewhat longer episodes to begin with, but to give us batches of 3. It's I feel like it's what you need, especially for Andor when it is more of a slow burn, to take in the entire story and threads they're trying to weave. For me, it aligns with how I like to view things, anyways.
Nope, that's fair. And cinematically, just kind of on my end, the first 3 episodes, and I assume the entire season, cinematically, it's beautiful. I love the new worlds. I love the contrasting and lighting. I'm sure we'll get into some of the ship stuff because you're more the ship guy. I mean, they've taken what they did really, really well in season 1, and I truly believe, at least from the first 3, that they've addressed, if there was any criticisms about pace, they did a very good job addressing that properly.
Yeah, I felt when the first episode or the second episode ended, I was like, oh, I'm already into the third. I kind of noticed it was going by a little bit faster than what I was anticipating. But yeah, to cinematography and to everything, like it feels like a very expensive show. Like they use the money in all the right ways.
100%.
I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked into it for season 2, but I'm pretty sure everything's live on location. There's no volume or anything like that. But even the first scene, like I knew from the trailers, right? A lot of the trailers showed him stealing the TIE prototype. So you knew that was going to be the first arc, but literally the first 2 seconds, like we're right into that scene. And I thought it was a good way to kind of start and get people hooked on what's going on. It's kind of like not like a nerdy thing, but like seeing that they're at the Sinar labs where like the ties are made, and they obviously got this big prototype going on, and Cassian's essentially, it's a year later, right? So he's fully into his like rebel cell now with Luthen, and he's running an op obviously for Luthen. And I kind of like that they just pick it up that he's already undercover. There's no like lead up into it. It's just bam, like he's in this situation, kind of got to go for it.
Yeah, it was a good way to not waste time.
Yeah. And I love that they made it, not that Cassian's some sort of TIE fighter flying expert. I love that he had a lot of difficulty flying this. And not only that, because it's a prototype, all the flight controls are different, because that one, when he gets to the planet, they try to take the TIE from him and they can't even figure out how to fly this thing.
Yeah, what's it called? The TIE Avenger?
Yeah, is that what they were calling it? I didn't watch it with subtitles, so I didn't know if they were going to be putting anything on.
I heard it referenced from a fellow Star Wars nerd who's a few years our senior, and apparently it was featured in a video game many, many years ago. So seeing that thing, hyped up is pretty awesome.
Yeah, if it's what I'm thinking, it's the TIE Avenger from the Star Wars TIE Fighter flight sim game, which is one of my favorite games growing up. I think the wings look a little different, and obviously they've like the missiles all lined up on the outside. Like they've obviously tweaked it quite a bit, but again, it is like it's obviously set up to be a prototype. Yep. But yeah, that ship was awesome. I even liked when it escaped the TIE Advanced X1s. You like the one the Grand Inquisitor flies? It kind of looks like the next step to Vader's.
Yeah,
those 2 were the ones chasing him, which I thought was nice. And I did like how he was that ship must be shielded, obviously, because Cassian kept wrapping that thing off of every canyon wall and everything. And
Yeah.
she's still flying. Yeah, so then we see Cassian. We kind of meet up with his crew, the Ferrex crew, and they're on a new farming planet. And we don't quite know if they're actually part of the rebellion or they're just kind of wanted criminals, and Cassian's doing his best to kind of protect and hide them. And I think probably more so what it is.
Yeah.
But again, there's so much like nuance, and there's gonna be so much political layering this season, so I can't help but feel some people might feel it's, I don't want to say woke, but like very much trying to tell certain messages. Obviously, there's anti-fascism and Nazi and stuff like that, but like literally the farming one, they're going around checking for undocumented working on the farm. Like,
yeah.
Obviously that very much relates to the real world. But I thought it's very interesting what the Empire is doing. They're obviously, checking, and like the people from Ferrex, like some of them aren't necessarily innocent too, right? Like there's a few people who've killed like Imperial soldiers and stuff like that. Obviously, the situation forced them to, but they're definitely on the run. The Empire, I think the one guy says, "Don't mention you're from Ferrex," so like that would be obviously a trigger of rebels, right? People, refugees, you want to call it, they're looking for. But it's interesting. They're literally just living a little farming life, and then the Empire comes, and like the rest of the natives are shocked because they hadn't been there,
hadn't audited in years.
Yeah, and now are showing up. So it shows the Empire's reach and control is expanding to worlds where they never ever thought they'd really see them all that much.
I think from a connection and relationship angle, there's subtle things that I forget the droid's name, the farming droid.
Was it BD?
BB. It'd be,
yeah.
I love how like he's on protocol to make sure that Fix or Bix or whatever her name is okay. Like when she has a nightmare, B says, well, Cassian's gonna want to know. Like you can tell Cassian, like there's obviously something going on there, and they do such a good job of being kind of very subtle about it and making it very genuine. So the development and the relationships there are very, very, very cool.
Yeah, and he misses Cassian. He's just like, Cassian, where's Cassian?
Yeah. It's so good, and I love that they're starting to dabble in, and we saw it in the last season as well, some very adult like content. So the first season obviously starts in a brothel, and in this one, in the third episode, there's a very, very kind of mature scene where there's an officer making an advance on.
She actually uses the word, which I was surprised. Yeah. Bix, yeah. At first, I'm like, okay, this is the first time we've seen someone suggest like
intimacy
and assault against someone. I think on TikTok they call it essay. And then I was like, okay, we haven't really seen that since like maybe Jabba with Leia when he's like having her as a slave licking her.
Yeah.
But then they full on keep pushing it, and she says he's trying to rape me, which I thought, okay, never really seen that in Star Wars. Like they're really pushing the they like to call Andor the HBO Star Wars, and you very much feel that throughout.
For sure.
A lot of it, right? Everything from dialogue to some of the more mature, darker themes. But yeah, it was interesting they went there. And again, it's an Imperial officer enforcing his position on people who don't have power.
Yep.
He says, I know you're illegal, right? I know you don't have ID, whatever it is. And he's basically saying, now you got to do this for me or else. And she obviously fights back. And I did like that in her nightmare pretty sure it was the dude who tortured her from season 1, which is why she's also kind of messed up right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of stuff going on with Bix and, the ground crew there. Cassian gets caught up with, he's supposed to drop the ship to another rebel, and then they're supposed to take it, but they've been ambushed by other rebels. So I don't know if I was like 100% in love with the storyline, but it was interesting that you got like, there just shows how unorganized they are, right? Like you got rebel groups clashing with rebel groups. No one knows what each other's working on. And again, I don't think
and he's like, I've been funding you. I've been supplying you. We are on the same team. And then they break into absolute anarchy between them.
Yeah. They just start killing each other. It was Yeah, like these, and they're like most of them are like kids, like
Yeah,
they've
are they
seen like
playing
very
rock
young.
paper scissors at the end?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so some some Lord of the Flies stuff going on with these
Yeah,
children.
great analogy.
Yeah,
100%. Great comparison. It's literally the
yeah,
Star Wars Lord of the Flies.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
we get the words that there's beasts there, and I'm like, okay, the beasts are for sure showing up. And when you saw them all drop their guns, you knew that was what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Sure enough, they show up. Andor gets away. Cassian gets away, and then you find out they were on Yavin the whole time. Because when they leave, you can see the pyramids in the background. So you know that is going to be the future location of the Rebel base. And we
Right.
know that the Rebel base, we've seen it in the trailers, it's fully set up in one of these future arcs. And I think the arcs jump by a year or something like that. There's time jumps in each of them.
Oh,
So
okay. So
yeah.
episode 4 will be a year later.
I don't know if it's exactly a year, but there will be
Got it.
big jumps between the episodes because they're supposed to rocket us into Rogue One.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So we see that's where they're going to end up eventually, which is a nice little nugget to see. For the Empire, we get Krennic right off the bat. I really like Ben Mendelsohn as an actor, and I think anytime he could be Krennic, he just chews it up like crazy. No, I think we lost Ged. We also see that Deidre and I can't remember her boss's name. They're now in the group and they've been tasked with mining. You back?
Sorry about that. I just had some technical issues.
Yeah, no worries. So I was saying was we see Krennic, he's leading a special group. He's got Deidre there, and her boss. Oh, it's gone again. 1 second, people.
Having some
There you
fun
go.
issues today.
Yeah. I can see you now.
Yeah.
Good. So we see Krennic. He's got like a special selected group of people. He's got Dedra. He has her boss, and essentially he's like the people of Gorman. We need a special. Was it a mineral or a rock? I can't remember what it was, but they need something that needs to be mined from Gorman, and the mining process will essentially destroy their planet. They'll have to excavate essentially down to the core, which would cause collapse. So they're trying to figure out how do we get the resources from the Gormans, and how do we do it where it looks like we're not the bad guys. And again,
they talked about a rebel insurgents doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. So first they wanted to do a disinformation campaign, basically, of flooding with information about the spiders and stuff like that and the people of Gorman and like making them seem bad. And then Krennic later on says to Dedra that he personally selected her and he knows that she already had the solution before she even walked in the door. And she said, yeah, you need to plant a rebel cell so that you could say you're taking action against rebels. Again,
and you could look at the similarities between what some view is going on in our world right now, right?
Yeah, exploiting another place for their resources. It's crazy the stuff they've woven into this show politically, but it like that's what the Empire does though. Like it's not. I feel like they're not going out of their way. Like just because there's similarities to real life, I think it could very well be a coincidence as well as intentional. But like that's what the Empire would do, and we see Krennic. We know what he does in Rogue One. He's trying to build the Death Star, and he needs that. He said he needs that special mineral for the reactor coating, I believe he said. So, like, he's very much has recruited this team as a special part of the Death Star construction. I like that Krennic basically says Tarkin doesn't know, Wolf Yularen doesn't know. Like, I'm dealing directly with the Emperor on this. So, like, they're all one away from the Emperor as far as this project and importance.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, even though I don't think we'll ever see the Emperor in this show, it ups the stakes, right? Like Krennic is basically the Emperor's voice on this project, and obviously he has his own ambitions, right? Because we know he wants to beat Tarkin. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting setup because we know we're going to see the Gorman massacre, and there's our setup into likely how they're going to do it. They're going to plant Imperials who are going to sacrifice themselves and pretend they're rebels, and they're going to use that to basically wipe the people out.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Can we talk about Dedra's relationship with what's his face? I don't
You
know
want to
why,
have?
but I have
Do you-
become an instant Dedra fan. Especially when it came to the dinner at the end. I know we still got to cover Mon Mothma, but
yeah.
I really want to chat about this whole I forget his name.
Do you want to have? I've written down. I have
Cyril.
Cyril, and Dedra are weird, is what I wrote.
They are very weird, but because I remember in the last season, it's been so long. I remember last season he's borderline stalking her, and now they're together.
He was pining hard for her.
Yeah.
And he was looking out for her in the finale when all the drama was going down. I can't remember if he saved her or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're living together.
They're playing house, and his mother shows up, and they're all playing nice. And then as soon as he needs a moment away, she just lets mom know what is up. It's so good. Like you instantly, I think it's a really cool way to continue to build a bond with a character who, let's be honest, is not considered a good guy in this.
Yeah.
But they do such a good job lately of giving you these nuggets where you can't help but like a character who isn't necessarily on the side you're cheering for. And
I also like she turns on the part of her though that is obviously the front of her work life, right? She has to be that cold, calculating person, and she turns that on to basically tell Cyril's mom to fuck off.
Yeah. Be nice or you're done.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So I don't know what we obviously know the role Dedra's going to play. I don't know how Cyril is going to fit into this because he was such a big part of the first season, but it seems like the stakes have outpaced him. So
I think he's going to be more. I think he's going to be more of a background character.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they fold him into it because I don't think he's on the level of everybody else now.
No.
So then we get Mon Mothma. She's back on Chandrilla.
Her lot to unpack here.
Yeah. It's her daughter's wedding, which we knew in the first season that she was going to be the arranged marriage.
Yeah. So the guy who's basically financing the rebellion, right?
Yeah, and the dude. Well, so let's talk about him. So he's the one who helped her set up the charity organization that basically let the money flow into it, and then he almost tries to extort Mon Mothma, saying that he's lost so much money. I thought he was going to be asking her for something else because her husband, I thought it was going somewhere else because her husband's it's obviously you two have something for each other. But
and the wife's gone because I think he flat out asked, "Are you going to leave with your lover tonight?" And she's like, "I haven't heard that in a while."
Yeah, so the whole time I'm like, this guy wants her body, not anything else. But then Luthen's like, "What's the number?" And she's like, "I'll get a number." But does Luthen just assume it's a number? But Mon Mothma knows it's not a number. I don't know what was going on there.
I'm trying to figure out how all this works. So he facilitates through his name's Tay, right? He facilitates the charity or whatever that helps the money flow.
Yeah, he set up the charity, but I don't know if it was necessarily his money.
The dad of the new son-in-law, he has the money, correct?
That's the part I can't remember from season one.
Because I think that Tay profits off of it, but he really kind of acts as the messenger. I think that who the daughter is marrying, that kid's dad is basically the funding.
And that's why they had to arrange the marriage.
That's why they have the arranged marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say Perrin, who's Mon Mothma's husband.
Yeah.
What an incredibly cool speech at the wedding.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming out of Perrin. The reaction of Mon Mothma, like the character that plays Mon Mothma, was absolutely brilliant. Like there's such an incredibly cool, sincere moment there where they talk about how life is really hard and it's every day the galaxy is going to throw gray at you and throw anxieties and throw challenges. And, it's really up to, yourself and your wife to find those moments of laughter, of play, I know it's a very different monologue, but you can see the writers from One Way Out, like that was written so incredibly well for Andy Serkis last year. Like you can see the writing still just Like,
Oh,
in
it's
my
top
opinion,
notch.
at a level that I have never, ever seen Star
Yeah.
Wars before.
And the whole time,
God, is it good.
yeah, and the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, I could see people being like, "Oh God, this wedding's boring," but like, I'm watching, I'm like, they literally set up like a complete wedding and customs for Chandrilla. Like everything
Yep.
looks unique and well thought out. Everything to like
Mhm.
the DJ after party with the little
Oh,
floating
yeah.
music going and like the coordinated dances and stuff like that. I'm like, there was so much time and care put
Yep.
into these scenes that, like, even if they weren't the most exciting, like I appreciated all those details and like everything from
There's
their ceremonial
there's
walk
definitely a little
and
Mamma Mia in there. Whoever set up that scene grew up enjoying that musical a lot.
yeah. And then we get a moment where Mon Mothma basically tells her daughter, like, you can say no, like I will protect you, like you will be viewed as like heroic, blah blah blah.
It'll
And
be a
she's just
brave
like,
act.
yeah. Then she's like, I wish you were drunk.
I
and then
wish you were
walks away.
drunk. And then she gets drunk. I mean,
Yeah.
so everyone wins.
Yeah, so she wasn't feeling it. And then the other big note was her Mon Mothma's sister, who's there, is obviously had a relationship with one of the first girls in the original Rebel cell or one of Luthen's ops in the first one. She hasn't seen her, is asking for updates, and she shows up at the end to take Tate or whatever his name is. She's, for people who've watched Yellowstone, she's taken him to the train station. So he is now off the board.
Oh, is she gonna go off him?
Yeah, she's gonna kill him.
Yeah,
so
I
that
recognized her, but
yeah.
I couldn't place where
Yeah,
I saw
she's
her
the
from.
one who was supposed to kill. She was supposed to kill Cassian at the end of season 1. Yeah, she's Luthen's like.
That's right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so that's why when he showed up, he's like, "Oh, where's my regular driver?" She's like, "Oh, she's not here. Like, oh, you got me tonight." So yeah, she's taking him away to execute him, which is why Mon Mothma then got blackout drunk at the wedding, because she knew she was funding rebels, but now she like firmly knows like it's impacting, like people she knows are going to die because of their actions, right?
So
And
that means that he is not going to make it to that meeting about a number.
No, he's off the board. I'm almost certain that is what's going to happen.
And that makes sense why Luthen was lurking.
Yeah, and you could tell he was pissed. Like he said, if I wasn't here, would you have even told me? So, and we know how much Luthen likes to cover up loose ends. So that guy ain't making it.
No.
Then I was gonna say the one other like little tidbit I got is the when I can't remember her name, when Luthen's right hand lady there, when she goes into his shop, they kind of show some of the new wares, and you can see the mouthpiece thing that Plo Koon wears. Obviously it might not be his, but like of his species is hanging up on a little thing, which I thought was neat. I was watching every corner being like, okay, what's new? Because they're going to hide some nuggets in there. And then we get Cassian coming back and saving everybody. A great scene in the TIE. They're just like, is that a TIE fighter? And then it just starts annihilating the troopers. I did think though, when he first pulled in out of hyperspace, there's a Star Destroyer in orbit. So I was like, okay, is he going to have to take on the Star Destroyer as they're escaping? But he didn't. And the credits ended, and we know there's going to be a time jump, so we're not going to see that. But still, the way he annihilates everyone was awesome. But we do lose. I can't remember his name. Bab, whatever his main buddy from Ferrix.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, so he goes down in episode 3, and you know what? When he's running away, they show the stormtrooper shoot and they're missing it. And then there's one stormtrooper who just slowly aims down, and then it cuts the scene. And then you see him, and he basically has the black hole right in the middle of his shoulder blade. So you knew that one stormtrooper got him, which was like, I don't think a lot of these people are going to survive by the end of this, to be honest.
No.
I don't think it's going to be a happy ending for most. So I figured we were going to see people drop, but yeah, I was surprised to see him drop at the end of this first arc. But it was. I thought this first arc did a good job of catching up with everybody, because it was spread out to all the storylines, and I don't think we were missing anyone.
No,
from the first season, really.
They covered it so well.
Yeah. And but with the time jumps, I don't know what to expect for the next episode. Like, there's no lingering thread of what they're going to do next, so it's kind of interesting how that's set up.
And we don't get 3 next time.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do? It's going to go in
Yeah.
3 arc drops each time?
Yeah, so there's only gonna be 4 releases
Oh. When is the next one?
next Tuesday.
Oh, wow. So they're going to go 4 Tuesdays in a row
Or
with 3 arc drops.
yeah, 3, 3, 3,
Love
3.
that.
Yeah, so I mean,
Love that.
it's literally they're literally releasing like a mini movie every week.
It's not that
Which is-
many.
I know.
Well,
You got 4.
Yeah.
Wait, it's 12 episodes, but they're releasing it as basically 4 episodes.
mhm.
Yeah, I love that release schedule. I hope it works. Whatever metrics they got on their back end, I hope it looks good on their end, and other shows take. But I don't know. I guess can you do it if the episodes are disjointed? You know what I mean? Whereas all these arcs are going to be like just a continuous flow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all works.
Yeah. All right. Get any other notes, or do you want to give this a score?
I say we give it a score.
All right. What do you got?
Oh,
I was stuck on the score because I feel like I want to be high and should be high, but then I was like, is it like recent biasy that's causing me to want to be high? And if I know the rest of the season gets even better, like what do I do?
I'm
I'm
going to go
stuck on
8-3.
8-3.
I'm going to go 8-3. I thought it was an incredibly good start. I don't want to get to the point where I'm getting super generous with scoring. And the only reason it's not 8-5 or 9 or some ludicrous score is because it's the beginning of the arc. Like there really was no climax. It was an amazing start. It's building towards something fantastic. It was like Dune 1 was an amazingly good movie, but it's building to Dune 2, which was even better. Like that's kind of the way I'm grading it. And then from 8-3, will it climb or will it take that step back? You?
I'm not going to change my opinion based on yours, but I am more ludicrous. I'm about an 8-8, and yeah, I agree in the sense there was not like a huge climax and like it was the intro, but what brings it up even more though is just the execution. Like it's flawless. The episode,
Yeah, so good.
It's just what happens storyline wise isn't is it a 9+? No, but like the execution is fantastic, and again, it like the worlds look awesome, like everything just looks great, and it's just so well written, and it's my style of show. It's a long release, it's a slow burn.
Yeah,
that's what I love, and that's what we got.
All right.
So let us know in the comments, everyone. What did you think of this 3-part episode? And we will see y'all next Tuesday. Peace out.